And welcome everybody to the Huddle, KGN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Jason Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, good afternoon.
Time to huddle up, Jason. Big
Yeah,
week.
we've got a lot
Big
to talk
week.
about.
Yep.
We're going to talk a little Arizona basketball and football. We love the overlap this time of year. And let's start with the basketball team. Pat, exit preseason win over Embry-Riddle last night. No real surprise. They're going to defeat a team that apparently only had 75 fans for its preseason game. But, the interesting thing about this is that Jaden Bradley came off the bench. And of course, Tommy Lloyd was asked about that right afterwards. And he said, I just wanted to see, different combinations. I'd be very surprised if Jaden Bradley comes off the bench against Florida.
Ever again.
Yeah. And I think he wanted to see a little bit of Braden Burries at the point.
Yeah.
Some of the takeaways, though, I'll give you Karchenkov. They seem very high on him. And he seems like that eighth player in that rotation. He's going to get regular minutes this year.
He's impressive, Jason, because he's just he's tough, he's physical, and he just goes to the basket, right? I think that he has been probably the most impressive because we knew Burries, we knew Cole Pete were going to be, impressive freshmen, but we didn't know anything about this guy. We didn't know he was going to be this good. He looks like a player.
Yeah, he and Dwayne Aristo too. So that's four freshmen, that are going to see prominent minutes for Arizona basketball.
Not a lot of minutes left, Jason. For you and I were talking. Just because your dad's LeBron James doesn't mean you're going to get a lot of playing time for Bryce James. So we'll have to see what happens with him.
Well, the one I was wondering about is Evan Nelson. He seems like that ninth guy. And, I'm not sure if he's going to be a regular rotation guy. The deal with Bryce James is, I think people who follow the team know this closely. He is not going to be a regular rotation player. To me, it's actually more a question right now, Pat, of whether or not he redshirts. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm getting this from speculation from X. I'm not getting this from the program. I'm getting this from speculation who cover the team. There's a situation where some other guys might redshirt, but I don't really, unless you're going to be a 5-year college player, don't really see the point of redshirting, and you don't know who's going to get hurt. So yeah, you can say, hey, Mabeel Maout's going to redshirt or CD Gay's going to redshirt, but I think if I was going to take a look at one weakness of this team, Pat, if I had to find one weakness, it would be if Krivas or Awaka goes down, because last year they had Krivas go down, but they also had Henry Vesar. They don't have it Henry Vesar this year, and Maout and Gay are not really, I don't think ready.
They're not ready.
So that's the little bit of depth there. Yeah. That front court duo is fantastic, but a little bit of depth there is what the issue is. Pat, I'm going to hear what you have to say, but first let's do that huddle poll question.
Yes.
I forgot to mention it the first, and that's going to be Arizona football. Do you think the Wildcats are going to make a bowl game this year? So they're 4-3. They got to go 6-6. Yes, no, or ask me in a week. Pat, I actually went yes. I know you think maybe I'd go with ask me in a week. No. I was positive yes. I know you went with yes.
Yeah, I did. And while ask me in a week, is true to me, that's a cop-out because, you expect them, if they're going to be a bowl eligible team, you'd win a game like this at Colorado, even though it's on the road. And we'll talk more about that matchup coming up. But yeah, I went with yes, obviously, as well.
Okay, we're going to circle back to the huddle poll question at the end. Pat, what do you think of my take that the one nitpicky weakness I could find is a little bit of depth there?
I would agree. You have to stay healthy. That's just what you have to do. And, all last year we were like, well, this team would be a little bit better if we had Mo Krivas, and yeah, of course they would have been a little bit better. But that was the kind of player they missed in a lot of those big games and in the losses to Houston and the one regular season loss to Kansas, but then they beat them in the postseason in the Big 12 tournament. But they could have used him against Duke, obviously. If you stay healthy, you don't have to worry about about the fact you've only got two bigs in Awaka and Krivas, even though Awaka is listed as a forward. He's a big physical guy and he plays the center position as well. So I think they're okay as long as they don't have an injury. And you hope that you'd think Krivas is really the biggest injury Tommy Lloyd's had in his tenure here. Hopefully you avoid that injury at that position and you'll be just fine. But it also goes back to not just injury. It goes back to you can't have both these guys getting in foul trouble in the same game. So if you've got one of those referees that is just calling all these fouls and you get both of them in trouble, then you're in trouble. But I think, yeah.
That's why they put E-Man at the end of this first half. He got those seconds, like 45
Yep.
seconds of play at the end of the first half
Yep.
last year, because they
Yep.
didn't want any of the guys to get in foul trouble. E-Man went and transferred to UNLV. He's playing for um, the former pastor at UNLV. And something else happened in that game, Pat, that's not insignificant. And it happened early on. And when it was happening, you and I were in the newsroom, and I was joking with you about it, but it's actually not funny because it was brought up in the post game. And that's the 4 early threes that Embry-Riddle hit.
Yeah.
Here's the situation. Krivas and Awaka were both in the game at the time, and it reminded you a little bit of that Buffalo game. And no kidding, where they shot over both Dusan Ristich and DeAndre Ayton.
DeAndre Ayton, yeah.
Okay,
Well, and that's why that little experiment didn't seem to work real well, right?
That's right. And so
yeah.
Tommy Lloyd, after the
Yeah.
game, he's like, no, just because that happened there doesn't mean we're
Yeah.
never going to play them together. And, they can get better at defending and all that. But I think that was very interesting. And after that, they hit those 4 threes. They only hit 2 the rest of the
Right.
of the
They
game.
missed a lot of threes after that, because that's what you do. You live by the 3, you die by the 3,
Yeah.
and the defense got way better after that. I'm not worried. That's not one of those, oh gosh, we can't defend the threes like we've seen.
No, but I don't think
years.
they're going to start Awaka and
Krivas
together.
No,
I don't think they're
no.
going to start them both together. I think
No.
you're going to see, Jaden Bradley, Koa Pete, Burries, Del Orso, and one of the bigs. Awaka started every game but one last year. You hate to see him not be a starter, but I kind of like Awaka in there. As a starter. I love his offensive rebounding.
It probably depends on the, it could depend on who the opponent is. If they've got a big that's more like Krivas, then they'll probably go with him to start. And if they don't, then you've got one of the greatest rebounders in all of college basketball, and you'll go in that direction.
There we see Bryce James. Fans loved it when he scored
Yeah.
last night, and he also had a few rebounds in there. He's not a bad. This is not a situation where he doesn't belong on the court. But don't get me wrong. That's not the case at all. He belongs on the team. He's just not a regular part. He's not going to be a regular part of that 8-man rotation. Doesn't mean he can't be next year or the year after. But I think he's quite ready this year. He's not where Burries and Koa Peter. No knock against Bryce. He seems like a pretty good player.
No, I think that's right. And I think that's why you're hearing the rumblings of, well, maybe this guy will redshirt. We just don't see red shirts happen anymore.
Yeah, what's the point?
It's because, if you redshirt, that's almost like, well, you shouldn't have gone to that school because they already have whatever position you're at enough of. And we'll wait and see. We'll see how it shakes out. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't redshirt. Maybe all of a sudden he works his way in and he's the 9th member in rotation. I don't even know if it's going to go that deep, though. We'll have to see.
I think Evan Nelson's the 9th guy.
Yeah, right now he would be. But I'm just saying, what if Bryce James doesn't redshirt, and what if Bryce James kind of passes him? I don't know what metric or measure you can use when it's mainly practice.
No, that's possible because if Burries is the second point guard, which I didn't know about until yesterday.
Yeah.
Then they don't really, then that's not as necessary. So we'll see what happens. Hey, they're going against Florida. Florida, the defending national champion. Florida also had a good offseason. Apparently, I've dived into the roster as much as I'm going to ahead of the opener, but I did read where they had a good offseason. So this is going to be what a terrific way to start the year. And next Monday,
it's going to be tough, but it'll
national
be
TV, defending champs. I don't think the pressure's on them. They don't have to win this game, know. But
but it's a little like, remember a few years ago when they started at Duke and national TV and Arizona won that game, and it kind of set them on a really nice path. Last year they had the tough schedule, and they kind of scuffled a little bit. So it's not a must win for Arizona, but sure would be nice to win that game, wouldn't it?
They're not going to go unscathed.
No. Too tough a schedule.
They're not going to win this and UConn and Auburn and what's the other big one? UCLA. They're not going to win all of these. They're going to get a couple. A couple are going to be learning experiences, and you're going to see some freshman moments. I really like Braden Burry's decisiveness, Pat. Really do.
Yeah, okay. I do too.
Let's touch on football here because we're going to have a guest soon. The new Sugar Skulls president, Edmund Marquez. This is Jason Barr, Pat Parris here on the Huddle. Pat, Arizona football going to Colorado. Is this a must-win game, do you think?
There's never a must-win game until you're going to be eliminated from something, and you have to win it. But this is a have to win game.
Have to win. Okay.
Yeah, you have to win this game in the sense that you've lost a couple in a row. You've played well in those losses. You had chances to win those games. You didn't do it. You got to find a way to win this time because Colorado is down. There's no question
Said
that
he was dumbfounded. Sanders said he was
and
dumbfounded after the game.
there's no question that Coach Prime, there's a lot of reasons. They're not excuses. There's a lot of reasons why this Colorado Buffaloes team is struggling a little bit right now, struggling a lot, not just a little bit. But that's what you can't worry about that. You can't feel sorry for Coach Prime. When you get on the field, you have to go out there and you have to dominate this game like I know they can, or at least put the pressure on Colorado and take the crowd out and score touchdowns like we've seen Noah Fafita do. Those first two drives in Houston, it seems like an eon ago, Jason, but it was only a week and a half ago. Those first two drives were as good a drives as they have had with Noah Fafita at quarterback. You got to go out and do that multiple times, not just 2 times in a row throughout the game, rack up points and keep the Colorado Buffaloes out of the game right away.
Well, and the run defense is big. They've been better at pass defense than they have been at run defense this year. After 2 weeks of not stopping the run, Colorado's going to try to run the ball.
Yep. So what have you done to try to shore that up?
Yeah. So that they've got to be able to stop the run here and kind of also stop the bleeding on a 2-game losing streak, because we've seen this program last year, 2019, have some bad losing streaks towards the end of the year. You want to kind of stop the bleeding here and get to 5-3, with a home game against Kansas, and put yourself in a good situation where you're playing for maybe a better bowl game. Because like I said last week on the Huddle, Pat, I know ASU lost and I know they're not as good as last year, but you don't want to go to Tempe 5-6 on Black Friday needing that win for a bowl.
No, you don't. That can't be the game that decides whether you or not you go to a bowl. You'd like to think that if you could win that game, you'd get to go to a better bowl, but you need to lock that up before. And Jason, this is a Colorado team that doesn't have the talent that Arizona has. I mean, it just doesn't have the talent. And when you've got more talent than the other team and you're better than you were last year, this is the kind of game you're supposed to win, and they need to win this game.
And Colorado gets a pass this year. Sanders is coming off a health issue. They had a really good year last year. That's a rebuilding year. They've got a good freshman class. They'll get a pass this year if they don't have a great year. He'll be back next year. He's not on any hot seat. Okay. Yeah. Arizona needs this win more, and they need to kind of stop the bleeding here. And based on how bad Colorado was last week, are they going to come out a little bit, maybe fired up? Sure. But this is a, if you're going to be the better of the bad teams in the Big 12, not in that lower tier, this is a game that they need to win.
Well, and they're sitting right now, Jason, at 1-3.
That's right.
In the Big 12, and you've got to get that record better. This team is better than their record shows right now. I'm not sure they're vastly better, but they're better than that record shows. They've already beaten Kansas State. They throttled Oklahoma State, big deal. But they've got to beat they've got to start beating teams they're supposed to beat, and then maybe somewhere down the road they beat a team that that they're not supposed to beat. But right now they just got to get a win.
Yeah, Jason Barr, Pat Parris is the Huddle, KK9's weekly streaming sports talk show, talking Arizona basketball, football. We'll talk a little Sugar Skulls, new ownership up here in a little bit with Edmund Marquez, the Sugar Skulls president. He is going to join us. Pat, I tell you what, I watch these Arizona football news conferences, and Brent Brennan's a little different than last year in the sense that he's cursing a little bit, and he's he's, I don't want to say emotional, but he's pretty strongly emotioned after losses. And you see all these coaches kind of getting fired here mid-season. Do you think he's feeling pressure? Now, I don't think Brent Brennan should be fired mid-season, or that should even be considered. Don't get me wrong. But my gosh, I'm seeing a lot of athletic directors a little bit more reactionary to a couple of losses than I would like to see.
Yeah, well, there's no question. I agree with that. There have been some in my estimation, knee-jerk reactions.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but in this case, I think I really go back to last year, and I think Brent Brennan was, we talked about it many times last year, and even in the offseason as we're heading into this year. Brent Brennan was trying to straddle the line between the players that were here under Jed Fish and the players he was bringing in, and we're staying with some of the stuff that Jed Fish was doing. We're going to bring in some of the Brent Brennan stuff too. And so he was kind of that calming force. We're just going to bring it all together and see how it, massage it and see how it works. And this year it's like, nope, we're going my way, and this is how we're going to do it. And I think not only is his message to the team amped up in that, and I'm now in charge, and this is how we're going to do it. I think that's the way he's approaching it with the media. And I think maybe after 1 year of kind of sitting back and saying, oh, please come out and support us, it's no, we need you, come out and, so, get out here and fight for us, and we can feel you. And, I think that all changed as well between last year and this year. And I think this is maybe the Brent Brennan we would see for years and years to come if he can be successful and maintain this program, or at least build this program into be a consistent winning football program.
Yeah, he's different in the news conferences, and he's wearing a lot more emotion, I think, than what he was. I'd say last year. He's probably an even-mannered, even-keeled kind of guy, but I think the question he was asked yesterday was, are there angry players, or he's like, yeah, you bet, and use the word pissed off and all that stuff. So I do see a difference this year, and I don't know if he's doing that because that's what he thinks that people want to see or people want to hear, or if that's just kind of where he's at, or if he's feeling a little bit of pressure. But I know everybody wants him to do well. I mean, he's the nicest he's the nicest football coach I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
So much so, Pat, I wonder if he could almost recruit in that way, because it's like you want a differentiator.
That's exactly right. And remember that the recruiting process, is so personal on so many levels, and it has to do with relationships and phone calls, and then in-person visits with family, and Brent Brennan, to me, has that personality. I think that does translate into having a great relationship with the players he's recruiting, with the families of the players he's recruiting. So in that sense, yeah, I think Brent Brennan, that works to his advantage. Now, that has to work to his advantage because that's who he is and that's what he's going to show. The problem is we're also talking about a program that hasn't had a lot of success. One bowl, a significant bowl win in the last, 6-7 years. So that's what you're going to have to recruit on is Brent Brennan and the great weather and from some pretty good facilities.
So it's Arizona at Colorado on Saturday, and then it is in football, and the basketball team taking on Florida in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena, to start the year. That is going to be Monday night. So a couple big days there. We could touch a little bit here as we wait on a women's basketball loss to Embry-Riddle. We'll get to that in a second. But first, women's basketball lost to West Texas A&M. We'll get to that in a second. But first, let's welcome in our guest. He is Edmund Marquez. He is the Tucson Sugar Skulls president, the new president of the Tucson Sugar Skulls. Edmund, it's Jason Barr, Pat Parris of KGUD 9 on the Huddle, our weekly streaming sports talk show. Thanks so much for joining us here for a couple minutes.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Great to be here. Honored to be here with you, gents.
So what's been the reaction the last 2 weeks since you've taken over of the Sugar Skulls and they've had that ownership change of those local owners?
It's been great. It's been exciting. A lot of people coming out of the woodwork saying, number one, some people are asking who the hell are the Sugar Skulls, which is exciting. We get an opportunity to educate people. It's been fantastic, though. The support that we've been receiving from the community has been outstanding. We literally have been at a point where we had more people wanting to sponsor than we had sponsorship salespeople. So it's fantastic. It gives us a really big boost when it comes into starting our season as we concentrate on building out the right front office. I mean, we're literally building it from scratch as we build out ticket sales and sponsorship sales. As we work on the team, we've been recruiting our players lately, which has been exciting. I'm literally getting emails from NFL agents, which is super cool. We've really brought on some amazing athletes. We brought on a running back from, as you've probably heard from the press conference, from the Pittsburgh Steelers. We just brought on the #1 sack leader for last year. We got him out of Green Bay, which is exciting. And then we're really concentrating on the game day experience, making sure that we're bringing all the fun to our arena. And we've got to up our game. We keep talking about NFL level operations as we bring in championship level decisions that we're making here at Sugar Skulls.
Edmund, you're a Tucson guy. You're a Sabino grad, just like me, and a state champion. Jason, he was a state championship football player. I was a state championship track athlete. So
Nice.
we got a lot in common. But what I want to know is, you talked about at the news conference that day about a unique ownership group, and we've never seen anything like it. Why is this ownership group going to work? And especially when you're the largest shareholder, just 25%. How is this going to work, and why do you think it's going to be a success?
Yeah, I got to tell you, like when I got to introduce myself to the IFL ownership group via Zoom, and I told them about our model and how we created our team, which is we didn't recreate the wheel. It's kind of a minor league baseball type model. It just made sense. I like to continually say, well, I'm born and raised here. We're Sabino guys. Tucson is one big high school hallway, and it just felt natural to bring in some really great high quality leaders from the Tucson community to create a synergy, so we had more buy-in. I'll tell you, like at 4:00 today, we call them the BOGs, the Board of Governors. They're going to be at my office. We're going to sit down and talk about all the nuances of what's happening with the team as I give them an update. We're going to talk about what season tickets they can help us sell, what sponsorships they can help us sell, what's their investment like. And it's amazing when you bring in, 13 couples that are all a personality, and we all get in a room and we all focus. It's what Tucson's needed. I mean, imagine if I took over Sugar Skulls by myself and I'm just like hoping for the best through my connections and my energy. But if I can bring in all these CEOs, the biggest challenge I have right now is telling them, hold on, because they call me night and day with ideas for how we can get nonprofits involved. How do we get the military involved? How do we reach out to our seniors? How do we fill the arena? So we're going to put our best foot forward as we move to create an amazing product that are the Tucson Sugar Skulls while we aim to win championships.
Let me ask you a tough question here. There are 11 or 12 local owners who are all, part of the Tucson community and have been for a while. You bought the team from Kathy and Kevin Guy, but Kathy and Kevin Guy are still maintaining a small percentage. What is the reason that they're still maintaining a small percentage? Why didn't they, if they were going to sell, why didn't they just divest completely?
It's twofold. Number one is just the respect to them for bringing this team to Tucson in 2018, first season 2019, just the respect for all that they did to build it. And then, pragmatically and bluntly, I'll tell you, I need Kevin Guy. Kevin Guy's a legend. He's a legend in indoor football arenas for 25 years. I just hung up with him before I ran into the room to jump onto this interview. And he is just a breadth of knowledge. And he and I are both high energy individuals. I take a walk every morning with my dog at 5:00 in the morning, and I'm talking to Kevin Guy. So I'm trying to soak in as much as I can of that knowledge so that we can build the best possible program and franchise here. And he's been amazing to work alongside with. And the cool part too is, as we all know, he's the general manager and head coach of the Rattlers. And I tell him, I love you, brother, but we're going to go up there to Phoenix. You're going to come down here, and we're going to put a whooping on you. Yeah. And I'm excited. Let me just tell you, our Sugar Skulls beat them twice last year.
Yep, 2 out of 3 times last year. Along those lines, Edmund, let's talk about the Sugar Skulls in the past and how it's, you hope to make it different in the future. Rayshon Kaiser, I thought it was a great hire. Defensive coordinator, was a terrific defensive coordinator. Is going to be a great head coach, I know. But he's the 5th head coach now going into the 7th season. And this team has made it playoffs a few times, but never won a playoff game. Winning is everything, right? And how do you get there? How do you get there where you keep the coach and you win season after season and you make the playoffs and maybe even make it to the championship game?
It's culture. If you kind of boil it all down, if you think about the culture of the team when you had Kevin and Kathy who are living in Phoenix respectfully, this is an entirely different culture in which we will embrace the team. I think, you do the play-by-play for the Sugar Skulls. I'll tell you, I've told Coach Kaiser numerous times, if this team was simply just loved more, and look, I'm hugging him there. If we loved them more and cared for them more, they would have won more games. They really faltered at the end of the last year. So yeah, I think if you have, no offense, you have owners that are in Phoenix, it's hard to be there on the day-to-day and care about the players, care about the coaches to the point where you have a coach that is maintained over years. I asked Coach Kaiser, we were sitting at the U of A BYU game, which was a really tough loss at the end, breaks my heart. But yeah, I asked him, what's your goal? Like, where are we headed? Where are we going? Like, you tell me what you want. And he needs to be here 5, 7, 10 years. Like, we need to build a dynasty in which we can grow around a young, enthusiastic coach that's the best defensive coordinator in the league, and at the same time hold him to a really high standard. And it's part of our success to know that we can keep a head coach.
Yep.
The dance team, the Tucson Sugar Skulls, they were called the Tucson Sugar Dolls. They're being rebranded as the Tucson Sugar Skulls dance team. Is that just have to do with the Dolls name that maybe felt was a little outdated, or is there going to be a new type of dance team with the team?
You're going to get me busted. I got you. I see how you were. I saw your resume, Jason. You're going to get me busted, man. So I'll just tell you.
What's on my resume? I better go check. What's on my resume?
Very good. No, it's very impressive. It's very impressive. I read it. So I didn't like the name. I mean, I no offense. Like, there's so many nicknames that are close to Sugar Dolls. I just didn't like it.
Right.
I called Christy Lopez, who is Walden Grove, is one of like 6.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yep. You know, 6 national championships for dancing. Took her team to America's Got Talent, and then she's got I didn't like it. I mean, anyone who wants to bust me on this, I didn't like the name. I didn't like the long leather black boots. Like, I just don't get it. We're literally going for Sugar Skulls dance team. We're switching to white tennis shoes like the U of A team. We're going to redo uniforms and outfits, and we're going to invest in them. I mean, we just hit up a local credit union to sponsor the Sugar Dolls. The Sugar Skulls dance team. They've never had a sponsor. We need to invest in them.
Yeah.
We need to invest life. They need to have new outfits. I mean, we're starting over. I mean, but we're gonna invest and make sure everything's at a high level.
Interesting.
Yeah, let me throw this out you about Ali Farhang being on board and now 20% owner. You know, he was always involved in the Sugar Skulls, but this is a guy who's a real mover and shaker in this town as far as sports goes, with the Arizona Bowl, Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, and all. How important is it to have a guy like that next to you in this endeavor?
There's so many different folds to that. So number one, I've known Ali since high school. Yeah. He was a couple years older than me, so I literally have known him since then. His brother's my fraternity brother, and I'll tell you, it's so nice to have an Ali Farhang. Ali Farhang is a big thinker. He's not scared of anything. That guy will throw out ideas. You'll be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, the guy brought Snoop Dogg to the Arizona Bowl. I mean, they created a bowl. Remember the Weiser Lot Copper Bowl? How far have we come now that we have the come on, Snoop Dogg, Arizona.
Edmund, that bowl game has done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it has.
And so think about that. They have game day operations. They have ticketing. They have sponsors. We have full access. So, like, I'll just tell you, we're going to really reach out to the nonprofits when it comes to the Sugar Skulls. We have 8 home games. There'll be 8 nonprofits that are going to be highlighted. And I just went to Ollie and said, you have a 50-50 at the Arizona Bowl. I want a 50-50. And he literally just called the Arizona Bowl team. And the Arizona Bowl team, it just out of loving us, being part of the community, is coming in to do our 50-50 with us. It's just a great partnership. Like, if you think about so I'll just tell you bluntly, what people are telling me in the community is, we couldn't have asked for a better ownership group. I mean, just led by me and Ollie. I'm an Energizer bunny. Ollie's just not scared of anything. He's got huge cojones, and we're going to go in there and build a football team.
Yeah. Edmund, this was a lot of fun. We're up against the clock. You were a great guest. We'll have you back.
We'll have you back. Yeah.
And we'll have Rayshawn on too, and do some stories. And you can bet for sure I'm going to do a story on the new dance team. And,
good. Bad, good. Controversial.
No, I mean, that works perfectly with our audience, K-Gun, who aren't as much into the nuts and bolts of the cover 2 defense and that type of stuff. So we'll do stories on that for sure. So I'm looking forward to that. Hey, thanks so much for a couple of minutes here on the Huddle, and keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Edmund.
Thank you.
Great seeing you.
Marquez, Tucson Sugar Skulls president. Pat, it's going to be different. I think we didn't have that big game day atmosphere that I think that they wanted, originally with the Sugar Skulls. I don't know how you have that outside in May and June when it's hot.
It's tough in June and July, even when it's so hot. But
maybe you have some nighttime games or something like that.
Saw what they did with the championship game, the national championship game. They used the
inside. Yeah,
inside. I think that's the perfect answer for it. Yeah, it costs them a little bit more. Or it costs Rio Nuevo a little bit more to help out, or whatever it is. But that's the way to do it. And these two guys, Edmund and Ollie, are the right guys. It's the right time for them. And as he said, no offense to Kevin and Kathy Guy, and I'm glad they're still involved, because Kevin Guy is an amazing resource because he's so important in the indoor game. but to have people here in Tucson running it is much better. You know how it is,
Yeah.
Jason. We're just Tucsonans are different. We're not Phoenix, and it's just different.
We're going to go an extra 2 minutes long here because I teased the women's basketball. So we just do one
Sure.
quick thought on that. Then we're going to end with a huddle poll question, and then we'll wrap it up. Listen, it might be a long season for Arizona women's basketball, losing to West Texas A&M in a preseason game of Division II. To me, this is year zero. I'm so impressed by Becky Burke and what she's accomplished. Yeah. If she doesn't win any games this year or their last place, as long as she keeps that team together, I'll be on recruits. I'll be okay with it. I don't think Michaela Purdue, who's the Horizon League Player of the Year, went for 13, is going to have too many rough games like that. But I'm not expecting much now from this Arizona women's basketball team.
Yeah, and my expectations were low anyway, so that doesn't bother me so much. I think that they faced a team that had didn't they already play that Division II? Didn't they had already played SMU, right? And
yeah, they lost by 12 or something.
Yeah, they actually played well. So I think a lot of things came together for that other team to actually play well. But whatever, I think we're both in agreement here. Becky Burke is the right person for this job. Right now, and just give her some time, and I think the fans will, because she's engaging, she's doing the right things, saying the right things, and it's just about recruiting now. It's you got as you call it year zero. I'm going to call it year one because it still counts. But
that's from Jed Fish, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Jed Fish year zero, but the record still counted. Year zero was 1 win, right, and that was the Cal. Was that the Cal game? Yeah.
Where they brought half the team because of COVID.
Yeah, where they brought half team had COVID. But anyway, the record this year isn't as important as building a foundation for the future, and give her some time.
All right, let's finish it up now with the huddle poll question. Do you think Arizona's going to a bowl game? The football team's 4-3. They got to get to 6-6. They got to win 2 out of their final 5 games. You can vote on kgun9.com/poll or on our X. And let's see what people voted for. I'll tell you what.
Right.
Yeah, I thought maybe you'd see a little bit more Ask Me in a week, because in a week they'll either have 5 wins or they'll have lost to a bad Colorado team. So you're going to have a lot better sense in a week. So I thought we'd see a little bit more than that. The crowd tends a little bit more pro. So I would have said, I would have guessed maybe 45% people say yes, 20-something no, and a little bit more SB in 1 week. But looks like we got not just a plurality, but a majority saying yes.
We got the majority there. That sounds good. I'm all for it. And yes, we'll know more in a week for sure. If they're 5-3, that yes number goes way up. If they're 4-4, that yes number goes way down.
For sure. All right, we went a little extra, but this was a good show. It's always great when we've got a good guest like that, and we were talking Arizona basketball and football. So if there's any day we've got to go a little over, we're going to talk a little bit more. That this was a good day to do it. For Pat Parris, I'm Jason Barr. This has been the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. We'll be talking Arizona basketball next Tuesday after their season opener against Florida, and we'll see you next time.